Now that you have created your list of goals, your sheet should look something like this, right? You should have your own goals here, however like many or few they are. And you should have an idea of what that vision looks like for you visually, and you should have some actual numbers here as well. I'm pretty sure that most of you are quite surprised by the number that you got out of your retirement calculation. This is an important topic. We're going to talk about this going forward. But now we want to go into our next topic, which is now we understand where we want to go. Now we understand what our goals are. Now we want to realize and figure out where we stand today. We want to know our own numbers. So that is why this session is called Know Your Numbers. Believe it or not, most people who have been in our workshops and gone through this program do not exactly know what their numbers are. We usually know our income, but we have very little knowledge about our expenses and where those expenses come from. So this session is for you to have a good understanding of that. I am going to walk you through how you actually fill in this sheet. Navigate to the session 4, Know Your Numbers sheet here. And this is the table that I want you all to fill out. I'm going to walk through everything that you need to put on this. This sheet is broken down into 2 sections: income and expenses, and asset and liabilities. You remember from the first session that we had about the basics of things. So we talked about income, expenses, and margin, and why margin was super important, even the most important number that you have. So this is about your monthly cash flow, what comes in, what goes out, what is my remaining margin. And the second part is about assets and liabilities, which we also talked about. And if you remember, we talked about net worth as the number that we want to track. So all of your assets minus all of your liabilities are going to give you your net worth. All of these calculations are done automatically in this sheet. So once you fill in the top part, these 2 sections, then the below is going to get automatically calculated for you. Don't worry about the fact that they are not yet populating. I don't want you to be distracted about this. I want you to just fill this form, and then I will let you know how to enable this sheet to calculate all the numbers for you. So, walking through what you need to input here. Please change this to whatever date that makes sense for you right now. But think about the last 3 months of your life. The last full months that have gone, and you have kind of all the information about how much money came to your accounts and how much money went out of your accounts. I actually want you to open up your bank accounts, whether through the internet bank or the mobile app or whatever you have access to. And I want you to actually look at your bank statements and bank numbers. I don't want you to guess or roughly calculate what these numbers are. That's very important. We want to understand what we think we are spending and receiving and what actually happens in reality. So you want to look at your last 3 months, starting with 1 month. So the past full month that has gone by, open up your app for the bank. Different banks have different ways, but all of them give you a way to filter on the transactions that you have on your bank. First, we want to look at our income. If you are a household with a couple who has 2 incomes, you have 2 different columns for incomes. If you are a single person, just fill in income 1. Doesn't matter. If you are 2 people and have 2 incomes, then fill in both. So what you want to do is once you open your internet bank or mobile bank of your account, you filter on the incoming transactions. So anything that came to your account as a positive number, right? Sum them all up, and then insert them into the income column. Income 2, do the same thing if you have 2 different incomes. So that's it. If in that income there is a piece that is irregular, right? So it's not part of your regular monthly income. So for example, you have a salary, you get certain amount, you get, I don't know, 25,000 kroner per month, right? Net after tax. If this month something extra came in, deduct that, remove it from your income, put it into other income. So if you have a regular income of 25,000 kroner and this month you had an extra like 1,000 kroner for whatever reason, somebody switched you or whatever, like remove that from this. So put the 25,000 here and the 1,000 into your other income. So this is to kind of account for, sometimes we don't realize that there are other sources that add to our income. And if you look at it over the year, it might actually be significant. So this is a way for us to distinguish what is a regular income and what is like an occasional, every once in a while income. So put that in. For total expenses, use your bank again, filter on outgoing transactions. Anything that was a negative on your account. Some of the banks give you a very clear addition, like sum of all of them, and you can just say, okay, I have this amount of money that went out of my account. Some of them don't actually give you that number, so you need to sum them up manually. Open up a calculator and just sum up everything that was a negative number. That would be your total expenses. And now the part that requires a little bit more work from you is this part. This is fixed essential expenses. We have mentioned this before. These are the basic necessities of your life. Anything that if you don't pay, you're going to have major issues. Think about your rent or mortgage, your utilities, your basic grocery shopping, your anything that you require to function. And if you don't pay it, there's going to be major problems in your life. Do not include anything that is an extra. Like if you eat out, that is not an essential expense, right? Like buying groceries and like making something at home, that's an essential, but buying, getting food outside and going out to restaurants every day, that's definitely not an essential expense, right? So in order to help you, there is a list. So if you hover over this field, there is a list of everything that you need to consider as fixed essential expenses. So what I want you to do is not just put a number off the top of your head on these. I want you to go through all the negative transactions in your account and try to find the ones that fall under one of these categories, right? Sum them all up and put them under the fixed essential expenses. So you go through your all of your statement and like all of your transactions. You see a number that represents your mortgage or rent. You put that number down. You add it up with rest of it. If there is an insurance cost that you're paying, add that up. If there is an gift and utility for your apartment or house, add that in. Basic subscriptions, things that you require to actually function. For example, if you have an Akasa, include that, but don't include Netflix or don't include like Amazon Prime and stuff like that. Grocery shopping, basic stuff, like things that you need to kind of like eat food to not die, to survive, basically, right? Do not include any restaurants, do not require any kind of like slightly more like fancier versions of grocery. Monthly loan payments, the bare minimum of the loan payments that you need to make to kind of like keep everyone happy and so nobody yells at you. Transportation, if it's part of your necessities, if you actually go to work, if you do like things that requires transportation, which most of us do, include that cost as well. So whether it's SL or fuel for your car or parking or whatever else, whatever the transportation cost is, enter that as well. If you have children and there is like certain costs for children, parts of it would be into their grocery shopping, but if there are like additional things to that, add them up. If you have a pet as well. So once you calculate all of that and add them up, then you put that number here. And then on the last column, if you already save and invest any amount per month. So two ways to think about this. One is saving, which is just means keeping cash. So if you have some cash left over in that month in your account, or you are more intentional about it and you actually move it into a savings account, for example, you can consider all of that as saving. If you also do investing, if you have an ISK account that you regularly or on that month particularly, you have moved some money in and bought some stocks or funds or whatever, include that as well. So any amount that month you have either saved or invested, put that number in. For a lot of us, this might be 0, which is okay for now, but this is what exactly we want to like start fixing and thinking about more clearly. Cool. So repeat this process for 3 months. So all of the past 3 months, like from the day that you get paid until the day before the next day that you get paid, right? So it's usually 25th of the month until the 24th of the next month. If it's different for you, adjust accordingly. Once you are done with the income and expenses section, then I want you to move on to the assets and liabilities. So in this part, the age is self-explanatory, right? Insert your age, whatever that is. If you are a couple and you're not the exact same age, think about roughly like an average of those ages, or roughly why this is important is for calculating your retirement stuff. So think about what is your shared retirement goal if you have like a shared one. If you are doing it individually, then do the individual one. But if you have a shared goal, think about, okay, where do I want to retire? What is roughly the age that I want to like use right now to calculate that? So if one of you is 32 and one of them is 35, it's fine. You can like get that like 32, 33 range in here. So as a couple, you don't need to get too worried about this. Just one of your ages that makes sense, or average them out. If you have a property in the next section, if you have a property, put down the value of that property, the current value of that property, whatever that is. Either you have already appraised it and you exactly know how much it's worth, you have done an official evaluation. If you know that number, put it there. If you don't, put down the rough number that you think your house or apartment is going to be worth right now. If you have multiple properties, add them up together and put the whole amount, like the sum of the amounts, in this section. If you have any cash lying around, so when I say cash, it means actual cash in your checking accounts, right? So either of your checking accounts, if you are 2 people, if you have cash left over, or you have been saving cash in an account, in a checking account, an account that does not get any interest or very, very little interest, less than 1%. If you have cash lying around, put that number in here. The next one is savings. It's very similar. So if you have cash, but you have put it into a savings account, meaning that you are getting an interest rate of over 1% on it, put it here. And then the next one is your total pension. You want to look at how much pension currently has been kind of like put down for you. In order to do that, there is a link here. You can click this link. There is a website that is called Min Pension, which works with the official pension authority of Sweden, Pensionsmyndigheten, and they actually do all of the calculations for you. So once you log in here, there is a tab at the top that you can look at your total pension. You can see all of your pensions. And then there is a section that says total pension, and then it equals to all your different parts of your pension. What the number that we are looking for is that total pension, like whatever is on the leftmost side, the bigger number that you have here essentially. So put that, get that number and put it on this sheet. If you are doing this for 2 people, add them up. Do it for both of you. Log in separately with your bank account. Get that number, total pension, put it down here. If you have any investments outside of your pensions, so for example, if you have an ISK account or a KF account or an AF account that you put some money into and you buy some investments in any shape or form, enter them here. And then the last 2 parts is about your loans. So the property that you have, if you have one, how much of the principal of your mortgage is left on it, how much you still need to pay down to the bank. And this is usually, if you open your bank account that you have the loan with, you can very easily see this number. Keep in mind that your loan is sometimes kind of broken down into multiple loans, 2, 3, or 4. Make sure that you add them all up together. So whatever is left on your mortgage loan, put that number here. And other loans and principals of those loans that are left would go into the last column. So if you have any loans outside of your mortgage, if you have a car loan, if you have a private loan, if you have any type of loan, credit card loan, if you have like a Klarna balance that is kind of coming with you over the months, any kind of like remaining loan that you have, add them all up together, put the number here. All right, so at the end of this, once you have filled in this sheet and the two top parts of this shield, then you can actually start looking at your numbers. So for now, pause this before going to the next video, pause this, fill in this sheet, take your time. This is gonna take at least like half an hour for you. If you have not done this before, calculating your fixed essential expenses, looking at the actual bank statement and all the transactions, this is gonna take a bit. Don't worry about it. Take the time, spend half an hour and actually calculate all of these numbers. Once you put them down all here, then come back to the next session and I'm gonna tell you how to get the rest of your numbers and understand where you stand financially.